Have you ever wondered about the role the media plays in high-profile legal cases and what lawyers and PR practitioners do to influence public opinion? Or how public perception can shape the fate of a case even before a judge or jury steps inside a courtroom to hear it? What happens when a media takedown of an individual risks permanently damaging that person's reputation, even though they are ultimately found innocent in a court of law? These are the many topics that will be examined in The Intersection, a new podcast that interviews top litigators across the country about the interplay between the court of public opinion and the court of law. I'm your host, Mike Sitrick, founder and CEO of Sitrick & Company, a crisis management and public relations firm in Los Angeles and New York that specializes in high-profile, sensitive situations.
And I'm Sallie Hofmeister, Mike's co-host. I'm currently a senior partner at Sitrick and a former editor at the New York Times and the Los Angeles Times, where I covered the business of Hollywood and oversaw entertainment coverage.
I began thinking about this podcast in late 2023, befuddled by the congressional testimony of 3 Ivy League college presidents being questioned about anti-Semitism on campus. All 3 had been prepped by prominent legal and PR experts. Yet many of their answers were tone-deaf and evasive. Most egregious, in my view, was the president of Harvard, who, when asked whether calling for the genocide of Jews violated the university's free speech rules, answered that it depended on the context. The obvious follow-up, of course, is, in what context would that be okay? Lawyers I've worked with over the years agreed with me that from the outside looking in, it appeared that the preparations prioritized protecting these presidents from legal liability without considering the potential backlash from the public for their answers. 2 of the 3 Ivy presidents from Harvard and Penn resigned soon after the hearing. Many lawyers understand that a client can win in the court of law, but be eviscerated in the media at a devastating cost to their client's reputation. Many have told us that media strategy is a central element to their work on most big cases today because of the obvious effects it can have on the judge, the jury, and the pressures it can exert on the opposition. For this podcast, we'll be interviewing some of the most celebrated litigators in the country about their practices in dealing with the press.
To date, we've interviewed nearly 20 prominent attorneys. They include Matt Schwartz, who will take over as chairman of Boyce Schiller in January from the legendary David Boyce. Also, Jeff Kessler, co-executive chairman of Winston & Strawn, who is one of the most influential sports lawyers in the game, starring in virtually every major labor action over the last 2 decades, including negotiating the current free agency salary cap systems in the NFL and NBA. Mark Kasowitz, CEO and co-founder of Kasowitz Benson Torres, will discuss how his law firm took on elite universities for failing to protect Jewish students from anti-Semitism. NYU recently settled its case. Patty Glazer, a nationally recognized entertainment business and employment lawyer, will discuss how she crafts her complaints like edge-of-the-seat novels to give them both court and media appeal.
I hope you have as much fun listening to these podcasts as we had making them, and we would appreciate your feedback through comments and likes. I hope you will share your views with friends and colleagues as well. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast streaming platform. Thanks for listening.